Hey, it's Larry Smith of the CommanderSmiths here with Searching for the Spotlight, the Balrog, Durin's Bane. And so this is a deck tech essentially, building the deck for you. Anybody that has opinions or thoughts, you can also chime in. This is a live stream deck building thing going on. Um, and so all for you guys. Um, Hear me out. You want me to build a Yeah, I'm listening. You want me to add green? You want me to add that dragon and then just go John sack stuff, treasures. I get it. I get what you're saying. But I'm gonna build the Balrog, Durin's Bane. This is 5 black and a red, 7/5 hasty. The spell costs 1 less to cast for each permanent sacrifice this turn. The Balrog, Durin's Bane, can't be blocked except by legendary creatures, and then whenever it dies, destroy target artifact or creature an opponent controls. Rakdos stacks. I'm not doing Rakdos stacks. Not doing it. Ain't no sack in there. I'm all about the sack today in this one, though, if you know what I mean. Ball sack, treasure sack, whatever. Same thing. Gonna be treasure themed. I have cut about 50, 60 cards at this point. Oh, I gotta set my mood lighting. I forgot all about that, didn't I? All right. There. That's better. Getting too much shine. Yes, we'll call this the Rakdos tea bag. A Balrog tea bag. How about that? There we go. All right. So the cool thing about this is treasures, when you sacrifice them, they add 1. Then you also have the mana from the treasure. So treasures act as 2 mana for the Balrog specifically. And we basically want to be able to cast him pretty easy as people try and kill it. And then you want to get him through. And I kind of have like an anti-artifact thing going on. But I think that's gonna end up being like the easy cut part. I have about 160 cards to go through. If you're not live, I highly suggest watching or listening through at 1.5 times speed. You'll still get it, hear everything. I read through the cards. But first, I should say the Commander Smiths is a podcast that comes out weekly, live recording on YouTube here every Monday night at 9. July does not count. It's very different. All over the place, not going to be around type stuff, but we still will have recordings once a week, but you'll just have to pay attention. Audio recordings come out on everywhere. Anything that you listen to, you should be able to find us. And you can find us on TikTok and Twitter. But yeah, we do a ton of content. We have a great Discord if you want to become a patron for only $1. If you want more, if you want proxies, which you will see in here, and 300 different kinds. If you become a patron, you might get some if you so ask or choose, or that's kind of part of the deal. But not saying that we, yada yada legal reasons. So let's get to this. Already talked about Balrog, Durin's Bane. There are a lot of treasure cards nowadays, and so we'll have to see where this goes. Let's just go with the mana part, because this is going to be the hardest part to cut. That's a thick. If I can get this down in the 20s, I'll be happy. One thing is there's plenty of treasure making cards, and so maybe the best thing to do is not necessarily focus on the treasures, but just what else do they do. But let's kind of go through this stack of cards. You got Glowing Dwarf Emissary, 3/3. Whenever you cast a historic spell, create a treasure token only once each turn. So artifact, legend, or saga are historic. Then you can tap it, sacrifice a treasure, go target creature. So the goading's kind of nice. You can make the biggest creature not attack you. So that is a shot. Also, there's a ton of cards with arts that are in the precons that I'm going to add in if they make it into this deck. So I'm pretty excited about that as well. Forge, Neverwinter Charlatan, 2/4 menace, sacrifice a creature for ward. And then it gets +2/+0 for each treasure you control. And whenever one or more players sacrifice one or more creatures, you create a tapped treasure token. Only triggers once. Boring. I hate that once part, but it seems to be what they need to do for to keep the game balanced a bit. All right. Whew. Ruthless Technomancer. When an ETB sacrifices another creature, you gain treasures the amount of power of that creature sacrificed, and then you can sacrifice tokens to return a creature with power X or less equal to the artifacts you sacrificed. So, I mean, it's this one's like so hard to even comprehend what's going on there. Oh, that's the hat up there. I've never really looked hard, but it's just kind of like weird. So that is a thing. Descent into Avernus. Enchantment at the beginning of each of your upkeep, put 2 descent counters on it. Each player creates X treasure tokens, and Descent into Avernus deals X damage to each player, where X is the normal of descent counters on Descent into Avernus. So you're going to start picking away at everybody. Should be fun. Zorn, whenever you create one or more treasures, you get to make one more. Not a bad one for treasure decks. Patron of the Arts, when it ETBs or dies, create a treasure token. Dockside Extortionist, best treasure card in the game. Guild Artisan, commander creatures you own have, whenever you attack the player with the most life, opponent with the most life, create 2 treasure tokens. Not a bad deal. Riveteers, Requestioner. All right, where we are. I did not see the movie Honor Among Thieves, so I'm glad that you enjoyed it though, Jeff. Descent of Avernus in every red deck, but it's cool. Yeah,
One.
that is fair, Jeff. I like it. Riveteers, Requestioner. There we go. Requisitioned dies. Whenever it dies, create a treasure token. It's just a 3/1. Has the blitz that can draw you a card as well. So not a bad deal. Vault Robber, 1 and tap, exile a creature, create a treasure token. Also a dwarf that kind of goes along with that other dwarf thing that we'll get to. Curse of Opulence, curse a player. Whenever you or an opponent attack that player, they and you get a gold token, which is nice. Basically a better treasure. And they fix that real quick. Strike It Rich, sorcery that creates a treasure token and then flashback 3 to do the same thing. Impulsive Pilferer, 1/1. When it dies, create a treasure. It has Encore, which would create 3 tokens. They'd all get sacked at the end of combat and create 3 treasure tokens. Gold Hound, 1/1. First strike menace. Tap it, sack it, add a mana of any color. It is a treasure. So that kind of counts, right? Currency Converter. Whenever you discard a card, you may exile that card from your graveyard. If it's a land, you can tap it and put a treasure into play, and then put that land into your graveyard. Uh, Cheap, one mana. It's nice. Cavern Horde Dragon, 6/6 flying trample haste. It costs 7 and 2 red, but it costs X less for the number of artifacts an opponent controls. And whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you create a treasure token for each artifact that player controls. That's going to be bonkers. I don't have the bronze dragon from D&D last year because I'm too cheap. There and Back Again Saga, that basically is there to create Smog, and when Smog dies, you get 14 treasure tokens. Goldspan Dragon, whenever it attacks or is targeted with a spell, create a treasure token. And then whenever you sack a treasure, add 2 mana. Pitiless Plunderer, whenever you have a creature die, you get a treasure token. Horde Hauler. This is a 4 mana 5/5 vehicle. It has trample, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, create treasure tokens equal to the artifacts they control. Pretty sweet. Stormkiln Artist. It makes a treasure for every time you cast a spell or copy it, and then it gets +1/+0 for each artifact you control. Gimli of the Glittering Cave, double strike. Whenever you can, whenever another legendary creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on it. And then whenever Gimli deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. Double strike is nice. That'll get you 2 treasures if it can get through. Also, Lord of the Rings themed there. Undercity Scrounger, 2 and a black for a 1/4. Sorry. And then you can tap it to create a treasure token if a creature died this turn. But nice blocker for 3. The Balrog of Moria, 8/8, but it's there for the 4 mana cycling and then creates 2 treasure tokens when you cycle it, and then also a reanimation target later, which is trample haste. Whenever it dies, you may exile it. When you do, for each opponent, exile up to 1 target creature that player controls. So it's dope. Professional Facebreaker. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. It's 2/3 menace. Sacrifice a treasure, exile the top card. You may cast it this turn. Play it. Play it. Magda's the other dwarf that I'm talking about here. And so whenever a dwarf becomes tapped, create a treasure token. And then also very cool is you can sacrifice 5 treasures to go and get an artifact or a dragon, put it into play. Oh, there's a couple of those in this deck. All right, Ragavan, Nimble Pilfer. This will be the first deck that I might get it in, but basically it has a dash. But whenever it deals damage, get a treasure and you can cast the top card of their library. Culling the Weak, sacrifice a creature, add 4 black. So essentially, this card nets you 4 mana, not just 3 like it normally would. So because that sacrifice goes into 1 more for the Balrog. Ashnod's Altar. I generally avoid these 2. Phyrexian Altar and Ashnod's Altar end up being very combo heavy. But here I feel like they can really do some work. And so sacrificing a creature gets you 3 mana, and Phyrexian Altar gets you 2, 1 of a color for the Balrog. And so I like that a lot. The Golden Throne, 4 mana artifact. If you would lose the game, instead, I exile it and life total becomes 1, and then you can tap it, sack a creature, add 3 mana of any combination of colors, which is really 4 for the Balrog, which is cool. Mox Opal, free coming down, and you should have enough artifacts in this deck, I would hope. Renegade Map, 1, ETB's tapped, but you can tap it, sack it, and then search your library for a basic land, put it in your hand. It's kind of like a free you call your toilet the Golden Throne? I didn't realize you were so much like Trump. Huh? Zing. Sorry. 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 Renegade Map. Basically, it sacrifices to go get a land, put it in your hand, and then also reduces the Balrog cost. Don't know how much that's going to work, but we'll do it. Soul Ring. Lotus Petal. That's creating 2 for the Balrog. Jeweled Lotus creates 4 for the Balrog. Talisman of Indulgence and Rakdos Signet. They are just really hard to get rid of in black-red decks. Talismans and signets. Planar Atlas. ETB's tapped, but you get to look at the top 4 cards to get a basic land in your hand. Also taps for colorless. So I kind of like it. I want to find a place for this. I think it's perfect for 1 and 2 color decks, but probably not here. Actually, I'm just going to cut it right now because let's talk about that a little bit. We're going to have to not have the staples like we normally do because we want the treasures because they're double power in here. And so some of the cards that should be obvious just aren't going to be in there. And then also, this is just, I'm just putting in my pile stack, but this is everything that I cut before we got here. So we got a cleaner setup here. All right, Reckless Barbarian. Sacrifice it to add 2 red. So really it's 3 mana. Not a bad deal. Ornithopter of Paradise, tapping to get you any color mana. Glittering Stockpile, also a treasure, but taps to add a red and a stash counter on it, and then you can sacrifice it to add X mana, where X is the number of stash counters on it. Gadarak gets you a treasure every time a creature dies, but only at the end of your turn. So it all has to die on your turn, essentially. Pawn of Ulamog, whenever you have a non-token creature die, you get to make a Eldrazi spawn creature. Inspiring Statuary is going to allow you to tap artifacts for mana for non-artifact things. So that works pretty well. Commander Sphere can tap for a mana, sacrifice to draw you a card, and reduces the Balrog by 1 in that regard too. Doing a lot of work there. Crucible Worlds, there is some discarding in this deck, so might as well get some of your lands back. Network Terminal taps for any color. You can pay one, tap it, and another artifact to draw and discard a card. But 3 mana to come out, not a bad deal either. Crypt Ghast is doubling swamps whenever they're cast and also extort. Solemn Simulacrum, ETB, basic land and play tap from the library, and draw a card when it dies. Sifter of Skulls, whenever a non-token creature dies, you get to go and put Eldrazi Scion creature token into play. And Rapacious One. 5/4 trample. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, put that many 0/1 Eldrazi spawns into play. They sacrifice to give you a colorless, so sacrificing them will give you 2 for the Balrog. Also gives you a lot of sack fodder in that regard. So didn't really do well. That's all the mana bits right there. See if there's anything. If there's anything that you're like, hey, you should cut that. Let me know. Because I've already worked at this and I'm starting to struggle already. So Rapacious One, I like this. It's kind of like a replacement for the Bronze Dragon. It's like a bad one, but it's I. Solemn, Crypt Ghast. Crypt Ghast might go. I think that can go. I mean, the treasure should do a lot of work here. Network Terminal. We could probably get rid of Network Terminal. I like no. We'll keep it. I like the mana. I like the draw. Discard. Crucible makes sense. Inspiring Statuary. Pawn. Gadrak is always clunky. And so I don't know. I don't have much where I would keep a ton of. I don't have wraths that would leave Gadrak around, if that makes sense. So maybe we cut that for now. Create a treasure token for each non-token creature that died this turn. 4 or more artifacts. Nice and aggressive, though. Yeah. All right. Glittering Stockpile is also half a problem. I like it because of the theme that's going on, but I think we're going to cut that. Ornithopter still makes sense. I like Reckless Barbarian in here potentially. Signet, Jeweled Lotus, Lotus Petal, Soul Ring. I think Renegade Map is a little clunky. As always, I think it's a cool card to think about. Mox Opal might get the cut, but it'll depend on where the curve is and stuff like that, I think. Altar Throne, Culling the Weak. I'm never a huge fan, but really what we're trying to do is get the Balrog out pretty quick. Ragavan, Magda, Professional. Undercity Scrounger. I like it as an early Gimli seems iffy at best, but I still want to keep it around. Stormkilled Artist. Depends on how many spells we have running. Instants and sorceries. I like Horde Hauler as well. Piteous Plunderer. There and back again. Keep that around a little bit. Cavern Horde Dragon. Currency Converter. Boom, 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 boom. All right. I'm liking Vault Robber because I'm not any utility will be willing to get rid of, but the bigger ones we can just keep around. I might get rid of Riveteer's Rubber just because I don't know how to say it. And also it has to die. I have it makes okay, we can cut that. Guild Artisan, yeah, making the 2. Yep. Patron of the Arts. I'm cool with that still sticking around. Zoran's definitely in. Descent to the Avernus. This is only going to be making me 1 treasure per turn, maybe. Artifacts, legends, sagas. I don't have a lot of sagas. Kind of have some artifacts, but I have to be casting it. We could put that in the goat or the protection section too. Just might be nice there. All right. And like I said, ramp, I like to have actually technically that can go in the reanimation section. All right. I want to cut that down to at least around 20, 15 to 20, and that and we'll see there. All right, this is the drawing one again in the 15 to 20 range amount, and we're plenty over that. But Viscer Seer is an automatic or unlimited sack outlet for scrying. Plumb the Forbidden. I can sacrifice any number of creatures, draw a card, lose a life per. So it's kind of a nice deal. Also works really nice with the Storm Kiln Artist because it's copying the spell. So could be kind of nice there too. Stormclaw Rager. It's a 2/2 ogre warrior. You can pay one, sacrifice another creature or artifact, and put a 1/1 counter on it and draw a card. Only as a sorcery though. But I really like that idea of being able to just like, oh, I could sacrifice an artifact that I don't really care about or a creature to just draw a card. But that was when I had more clues and food tokens that were going to be hanging around, which I don't have many of anymore. That might be worth getting rid of. All right, Yawgmoth sacrificing. You want some sack outlets to potentially help out the Balrog, but also be able to sacrifice the Balrog if you want to destroy anything, and then just kind of recast it or whatever. I don't know. I don't know how if because once you get up to let's say like 5, I should be able to cast that. And then if I could sacrifice it again, it's only going to be 4. And so if I have 2 more treasures, I could do it again. And if I sacrifice it, I need 2 more treasures to do it again. Do all of that in a turn and just start killing stuff. I don't think that's smart, but it might be something that can happen. So sacrificing creatures, potential removal, but plenty of draw. Wheel of Fortune and Wheel of Misfortune is mass discard and draw. Just getting back to 7. We'll see if that's needed or not. Read the Bones, draw 2, discard 2, pay 2 life. I think the sake of what's going on, we're gonna have to cut that, but I love that card. So, Reign of Riches, enchantment for 5 mana. When it ETBs, create 2 treasures, and then the first spell you cast each turn, if you used a treasure, uh, that mana from a treasure was spent to cast that has Cascade. So it doesn't have to be the first spell, but it has to be the first spell with a treasure. So then it has Cascade. Not a bad deal. Pirates Pillage, Unexpected Windfall, and Big Score. They're all 4 mana. Draw or discard a card and then draw 2 cards and create 2 treasures, 2 treasures, 2 treasures. And so 1 is a sorcery, 2 are an instant. They are all probably likely going to make it. Black Market Connections, you're paying life to draw a card, paying life to create a treasure token, and paying life to create a creature. This is here for the drawing and treasure token. Seize the Spotlight. We have let's see here. Sorcery, 3 mana. Each opponent chooses fame or fortune. For each player who chooses fame, gain control of a creature they control. Untap those creatures, haste, yada yada. For each player who chooses fortune, you draw a card and create a treasure token. I mean, if somebody wants to give me their creature, that's great. But in this deck, I'll most likely be able to sacrifice it. So it's either an aggressive card that I can create as removal and attacking, or they're going to let me draw 3 cards, 3 treasures for 3 mana. That's not a bad rate either. Seize the Spoils is 3 mana sorcery, and then it's discard a card. You get to draw 2 cards and create a treasure token. Deadly Dispute is 2 mana instant black. As an additional cost, sacrifice an artifact or creature to draw 2 cards and create a treasure token. Treasure Map, 2 mana artifact, pay 1, tap it, scry 1. If you put a counter on it, if you got 3 or more, you flip it, which gets you 3 treasures. Then you can tap it to sacrifice a treasure and draw a card, or it adds a colorless mana. Liliana, Dreadhorde General is going to be a beast in here. This is one of them proxies that Adam makes. It's pretty dope. But whenever a creature you control dies, you get to draw a card. Sweet. You get to create a treasure or a zombie token. Not a big deal. But everybody's sacrificing 2 creatures. Basically you get 2, 4, 6, 8 on the Balrog trigger, so it reduces it by 8. along with at least drawing 2 of your cards, and you're gonna have plenty of mana to cast the Balrog. It moves creatures out of the way. It's gonna be a beast in this deck. Alright, Bolas' Citadel, casting cards off the top for, life, but also sacrificing 10 non-land permanents reduces the Balrog by a lot, and, you're gonna get a lot of gain off that. Idol of Oblivion, 2 mana artifact, tap it to draw a card if a token ETB'd your this turn for you. It's cheap, it's easy, and, should be able to get there. Reckoner Bankbuster, 2 mana vehicle, crew 3, 4/4, ETBs with 3 charge counters on it. You can pay 2, tap it, remove a charge counter to draw a card. If there are, after 3 turns, if there are no charge counters on it, you get to create a treasure and a 1/1 colorless pilot. And this is just doing everything I need. Draws me cards, or it gets me a treasure later on. I can dig it a lot. Tome of Legends. I really like Tome of Legends in a commander deck where I can cast it and it has haste, so fairly easily. So Tome of Legends, ETBs with a page counter on it. Whenever your commander ETBs or attacks put a page counter on it, you can pay 1, tap it, remove a page counter to draw a card. So no matter what, it's going to be able to draw you a card. And then when the Balrog comes into play, you get to attack with it right away. You get 2 more page counters on it. You're just kind of drawing there. It should work pretty nice. Faithless Looting, 1 red sorcery, draw 2, discard 2, flashback for 3. Urza's Bauble, here for the free sacrifice. So it's 0 to come out, artifact, tap it, sacrifice it. You get to do something random. It doesn't even matter, but you get to draw a card at the next turn's upkeep. But it's here just to be able to sacrifice for easies. Mishra's Bauble, again, 0 mana artifact, sacrifice it, which adds to the Balrog thing and draws you a card at the next upkeep. Sensei's Divining Top, just making sure you get there. It's a great card. Always run it. Bitter Reunion, 2 mana red enchantment. When it ETBs, you discard 2 cards. May discard a card. If you do, draw 2 cards. You can pay 1, sacrifice it. Creatures you control gain haste until end of turn. We'll see if that makes it. Knight's Whisper has a sweet art in the precon and Lord of the Rings, so I want that kind of in there. But draws 2 cards, loses 2 life. Nice little cantrippy thing going on. Weatherlight Completed. Whenever you have a creature die, you get to scry. But if it's happened 7 or more times while this is in play, you get to draw a card. And also, if there's 4 or more, this becomes a 5/5 flying awesomeness. Transmogrant's Crown. Oh, shit. I don't have a Skull Clamp in here. All right. Transmogrant's Crown. +2/+0. Whenever equipped creature dies, draw a card. That's the deal. Koldotha, Forge Master. Sacrifice 3 artifacts. Search your library for an artifact card. Put it in the battlefield, then shuffle. We generally don't tutor. That's why you don't see a lot. I feel like this and then the dwarf lady are pretty on theme. I don't have an issue with it, especially um not being my commander. So things should be different enough. And I got a couple of different targets for them as well, and we'll get to those eventually. Stinging Study is going to be 5 mana instant. You draw X cards and you lose X life, where X is the mana value of your commander. So that's 7 life, 7 cards for 5 mana at instant. It's pretty dope. Monumental Corruption, 5 mana black sorcery. Target player draws X cards and loses X life, where X is the number of artifacts you control. And so hopefully you have a lot of treasures hanging around. Maybe. It'll depend on how aggressive you want to be with the deck, but I like this so far. Aetherworks Marvel, 4 mana artifact. Whenever a permanent you control is put into a graveyard, you get an energy counter, and then you can tap it to pay 6 energies. Look at the top 6 cards of your deck, and you may cast a card from among them, put the rest on the bottom. So I think treasure decks, clue deck, a lot of things, this is just free. It's 4 mana, you start casting things for free. I think it's a good one there. Quicksmith Genius, whenever you have an artifact ETB, you get to draw a card, discard a card. You may discard a card, then draw a card. So it's much worse, but it's still consistently seeing stuff. Moria Scavenger, 3 mana, 1/4 Death Touch Haste. Tap it to discard a card to draw a card. If the discarded card was a creature card, amass Orcs 1. Good way to keep creatures around. Morbid Opportunist. Whenever a creature dies, you get to draw a card once per turn. I only got one draw card. Sheesh. I do want to sacrifice creatures. That's Transmogrant's Crown. It's Whisper. Bitter Reunion. I don't really care about the haste. I don't think. We'll cut that. I keep on cutting it. It's something I really like and I want to play with. I just haven't been able to fit it in a deck yet. I like the Baubles, Tome of Legends. Question is which one's going to be more consistent? I like Reckoner Bankbuster. All right, dope. Very much on theme. Yep. All right, the question that we're getting into is what is our... I'm willing to get rid of Viscerous Seer. We gotta, we have a couple of... we probably have enough sack outlets that I'm not going to be mad about it. We have plenty here. Oh, noes. I still like the discard draw the whole gang. I'm going to cut all 4 of these, actually. But they're still hanging out, and I can always go back to them and add them in if I'm running out of cards as the deck plays. But for now, we'll cut them. So, boom. Look at that. Made some more movement. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 20, 28. So we still have to cut like 10 from there. So yeah, cutting 4, being aggressive there is good. And that must mean we have roughly, we're almost 30 here, 40, 50. We're close to 50 on our mana production there. Yikes. Those are the 2 that we got to cut the most. All right, let's go through. Let's see here. Gotta rearrange stuff. Let me get a drink real quick. So let's just go with some of the protection that we want to talk about. We have the goad. So sacrificing a token or treasure token to goad a creature, just the biggest creature on the board, force them to attack and not you. So not a bad deal. And then let's go with Baloth, Battle Roll Entertainer, but 5 mana, 2/5 Elf Shaman. Creatures your opponents control with power less than Baloth, Battle Roll's power, or goaded. And whenever a goaded attacking or blocking creature dies, you create a treasure token. So I kind of like that idea. Definitely move in some of the smaller, like go wide decks. So we'll see if that sticks around. Smoke. Each player can only untap 1 creature during his or her untap phase. I'm going to be untapping the Balrog. If they don't untap their legendary creature or whatever, they don't get to block me. Tibalt's Trickery is just for a little bit of protection. Make sure some of my stuff is going off. And Crawl Space is just making sure that I don't get overrun. Can only be attacked with 2 creatures. Removal. That's also a fat stack of the stuff that will have to go down. We'll see what ends up happening. But Blood Money, 7 mana sorcery, destroy all creatures. For each non-token creature destroyed, create a tapped treasure token. That's going to be a lot of treasures. Spiteful Banditry. Whenever it ETBs, deals X damage to each creature because it's X and red. Enchantment. And then whenever 1 or more creatures your opponents control die, you create a treasure token. This ability triggers only once each turn, but it is each turn. So Rankle and Torbrand. So flying first strike haste for 5 mana, 3/4 fairy dwarf. But Whenever it deals damage, choose any number. Each player creates a treasure token. Each player sacrifices a creature. And if a source would deal damage to a player or battle this turn, it deals that much damage plus 2 instead. And so since it has first strike, if you attack with your team, they all get that additional 2 damage per hit. With that, um, so one thing that I don't like about this, because I want to run it because of the sacrifice clause, because this does it doesn't matter about you sacrificing stuff. It as long as something's sacrificed, it reduces the cost. So if you have if every player sacrifices a creature, it reduces the Balrog by 4, which is super nice. The problem that I'm having is that this happens after combat, and I'd much rather be casting the Balrog before combat to utilize that haste. But man, it creates treasures, it sacrifices, and it's increasing the damage. Like this is doing a lot. I like this card in here, but we'll see if it ends up lasting. Visions of Ruin. It is 4 mana. Each opponent sacrifices an artifact, part of that sacrifice part, right? And for each artifact sacrificed this way, you create a treasure token. So turn 4, or whenever you cast this, really early, they all sacrifice an artifact, and then so that's 3, and then you get 3 treasures, and then you can sacrifice 2. That's 2, 4, 5, 6, 2 of those treasures, and you get the Balrog out. That's a great card. And also the flashback is only going to be red, red, and a colorless. 6, 7? Yeah. So 3 mana for that flashback. Whew. This card's gonna be crazy. Urbrask, it's there to deal some damage, but also the great thing is getting 3 treasures. It's gonna do a little bit of removal there. I don't even care what's going on. But it creates treasures, allows me to cast stuff. I'm down with it. Grim Hireling. Whenever one or more creatures deals combat damage to a player, create 2 treasure tokens, which is bonkers. So 6 per turn if you hit everybody. And then you can sacrifice X tokens to do some removal thing. Only as a sorcery. I don't know about that, but 6 mana is crazy. 6 treasures. Rose Room Treasurer allows you to get whenever another creature ETBs, create a treasure token if it's the first or second time. After the second time, you get to pay X to deal X damage to any target. So, not a bad deal. Surly Badgesaur, whenever you discard a land, you get a treasure. Whenever you discard a non land, what is it? A creature card, put a 1/1 on there. Non land is fighting. So you got some discarding going on in here. We'll just see how consistent that can be. Innocent Blood, 1 black sorcery. Each player sacrifices a creature. So this 1 black for the Balrog produces 4, a reduction of 4. So that's not a bad turn away either. Also, I should be pointing out there are plenty of creatures that have this effect at 3-ish mana. I'm going to avoid that because I don't want it to happen too much in this game. And it's only netting me 1 in that regard because it's 3 mana come down. Everybody sacrifices something, which is 4, but I already used that mana. So it's kind of like it's not netting. It's not a ramp card. This is almost like a ramp card if everybody sacrifices something. That's the reason why I want to run with that. Same thing with Smallpox. Black sorcery. Each player loses life, discards a card, sacrifices a creature, then sacrifices a land. So this is black. So I'm casting the 2. Everybody's sacrificing 2 things. So it's 2, 4, 6, 8. And at the end, the Balrog is going to be black, red. That's how much it's going to cost there. So, and it's a bit of removal is affecting me, but we'll see. Goblin Bombardment, sacrifice a creature, deal 1 damage to any target. This is one of the best sack outlets in the game. Go with it. Voldarin Pariah, 5 mana, 3/3 flyer. You get to sacrifice 3 other creatures, transform it, and then it target opponent sacrifices 3 creatures when it transforms. So, and it turns into 6/5 flyer, but whatever. But basically, 5 mana comes down. Next turn, I can sacrifice 3 creatures. They have to sacrifice 3 creatures, and then the Balrog casts red and black. And you're removing stuff. Killing Wave, probably is going to be fantastic in here, but black and an X sorcery. For each creature, its controller sacrifices it unless he or she pays X life. For each creature. So if you just go X2, if somebody sacrifices a couple things, that's pretty nice. That's going to be some removal right there. Priest of Forgotten Gods, one of the black, 1/2 creature, tap it, sacrifice two other creatures. Any number of target players each lose 2 life and sacrifice a creature. You add 2 black and draw a card. So again, this one is netting me. I tap it, 2 creatures. Everybody else sacrifices a creature, so that's 5, and I get 2 black. So this one, all I have to do is have a red left over, and I'll have a black floating. So let's go do some work. Rankle, Master of Pranks. Same thing as Rankle and Torbrand, but this one, Flying Haste, whenever it deals damage to a player, I get to basically, I plan on doing lose a life, draw a card, everybody, and then everybody sacrifices a creature. Again, the problem comes that the sacrifice happens after. All right, I think I'm talking myself out of that. Sorry. Let's get rid of Rankle and Torbrand. I just don't like that it happens after the fact, which is a bummer. Urborg Justice, black instant. Target opponent chooses and sacrifices a number of creatures he or she controls equal to the number of creatures put into your graveyard from play this turn. So instant speed allows you to react to just all out blocking, have a bunch of your stuff dying, and then somebody else has to sacrifice a bunch of things. It's great in that way, but also just I can sacrifice a bunch of my stuff, cast Urborg Justice. Somebody has to sacrifice a bunch of their stuff, and then the Balrog comes out nice and clean. So, Mire in Misery, 2 for a sorcery. Each opponent sacrifices a creature enchantment. So this nets you 1. I don't know how much I like that part, but Liliana's Triumph, 2 mana instant. Each opponent sacrifices a creature. If you control a Liliana, they also have to discard. But basically, there it nets you 1 as well. I probably like it better than Mire because it's a bit more instant speed removal, but this can also get me some enchantments but unlikely. Vana's Hunger, 3 mana instant. As long as you have Ascend, which is 10 or more permanents, each opponent sacrifices half the creatures they control. That's going to get you there. Mandate of Abandon, 4 mana sorcery. Target creature you control, destroy all creatures with power less than that creature's power. So it's just going to destroy 6 power or less creatures. It's going to wreck the board for 4 mana. Chandra's Ignition, very similar, but 5 mana sorcery. And then target creature you control deals 7 power, which is probably going to be the Balrog, to each creature, other creature, and each opponent. So kind of just another board wipe. Shard of the Void Dragon, 7 mana, 7/7, Catan, flying. Whenever it attacks, each opponent sacrifices a non-land permanent. So there's again, after that attack spell, which I don't love. Whenever an artifact is put in a graveyard from the battlefield, is put into exile, or is put in exile, put 2/1/1 counters on the Shard of the Void Dragon. God, I wish this was a dragon. Because then I could search it up with that dwarf. Magda. There we go. I've been calling it that dwarf the whole day. So I like it because this is, a treasure, and it gets huge. And it's a removal for me. And it is a we'll keep it. No. We gotta cut it. We got too many cool spells. Torment of Hailfire. Nobody's gonna love me for this. This is the only deck I think I have it in at this point, but X black sorcery. Repeat the following process X times. Each opponent loses 3 life unless that player sacrifices a non-land permanent or discards a card. Now the thing here is that basically what I want to be doing is I don't care. I can cast this at any point. I probably just want to do it for 4 or 5, and then after that I don't care. it's all gravy after that. But it's basically there to help me cast the Balrog. And, if I do this at 3, then everybody has the potential to sacrifice 3 permanents. They may or may not do that, but it's good to see if that's gonna happen or not. And then 2 deep, 7 mana sorcery. Put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. That creature deals damage equal to its power to each other creature. So kind of a Chandra's Ignition, but on a reanimate target. A little bit more mana, but I like where this is going as well. So there's plenty there. I do need to be aggressive in the cuts. Um, I like the cheap. I think I think I'm gonna be more treasure based, so Urborg Justice. If you're going more creature based, definitely get Urborg Justice. But we'll cut that for now. Priest of Forgotten Gods, Killing Wave, I like. Voldaren Pariah. Yep, yep. People are not gonna like these two. Do I care? I think Surly Badgestar. I this is one of those cards. Surly Badgestar is one of those cards where I'm like, I like this card, but it always is at a bad spot because it's a 3/3 for 4 mana that you need to discard stuff too. Like you need more stuff going on. I'm not a guaranteed discard deck in here, so I think we cut Surly. I still like Smallpox and Innocent Blood. Rose Room Treasure makes sense to me. Vision, Spiteful, Blood Money. We just have so many wrath effects that I'm gonna have to probably figure that out as well. Um Right. Right, right, right. Anybody opposed to me getting rid of, because basically you gotta do the mana. So do I think Vana's Hunger is gonna allow me to cast the Balrog for black and a red? No matter what. Um and stuff like that. Liliana's Triumph, Mire, and Misery. They probably don't do that much actually. I probably like Smallpox, Innocent Blood better as ramp cards. I think Fauna's Hunger, probably great in here. Probably great. I guess that's the next question. So, do I think Killing Wave is better than Vana's Hunger? So for 3 mana, am I gonna be able to get ugh, that's a good question. That's a good question. Oh, in my experience, Vana's Hunger doesn't perform as well as I want it to, but it may work well here. Yeah, I think we're kind of in the same boat. Like, I feel like it's going to do some work. So Killing Wave, those are kind of like it's removal, but also ramp, which is kind of weird to think about. Um, I should go through and look at my how many wraths are there? I think all right, wrath, and wrath. Shit. All right. This would have been perfect for that. Okay, so one thing that Chandra's Ignition and Mandate of Abandon are perfect, I think, for this deck. It's just gonna wreck boards, but does not give me a treasure. It does not sacrifice. I think I gotta cut him. I was just salivating at the idea, but I'd rather have the cards that I don't play with the whole time, like Torment, Blood Money, and Spiteful Banditry is first. Killing Wave. I think those are the 4 wraths. If I'm gonna run wraths, that's what I'm gonna do. So Vana's Hunger can probably go away. And then did I count these as removal? Technically, yes, I did. All right. All right. I could probably get rid of this too. I think this is awesome because that's 6 mana. Boop, boop, boop. Has a little the madness cost is kind of enticing because I do have a little bit of draw discard. 2 oh, let's keep that for now. Not not doing too bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 10 cards from not displeased about that. All right, this one is gonna have to get let's go reanimation style here. All right, we already talked about Ruthless Technomancer. The other thing that so Undying Evil, Supernatural Stamina, and Malakir Rebirth are all reactive cards for reanimating essentially. Um, the Balrog dies, and as it's dying, I cast the Undying Evil on it, dies, gets my trigger, comes back, and it's already there. It's not a bad deal as long as you have it ready. I probably will fit at least Malakir Rebirth in here because it can be another land, and I'm half wondering if I should go thin on land, but we'll have to see. Vat let's see. We'll keep those 3 for now. Vat of Rebirth, 1 black artifact. Whenever another artifact or creature you control is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, put an oil counter on it. Then you can pay 3, tap it, remove 4 oil counters from Vat of Rebirth, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield only as a sorcery. Um, that seems cool. I like it. Very similar to the one dude, the artifact that goes and plays stuff for energy. So kind of similar to that. Instead of oil counters, not energy. Da da da. Kaya's ghost form, not a reactive piece. That's a good question. Then, when an ever enchanted permanent dies or is put in exile, return that card to the battlefield under your control. Enchantment aura, Kaya's ghost form, with it not being an instant. I can see getting rid of that. I'm okay with that. Animate dead, bringing a creature back into play, -1, -0, whatever. Necromancy, bring a creature back from the graveyard into play. Mimic that. Basically, if I can get Balrog under there, I'm not displeased. But pay 3, tap it, create a token that's a copy of a card exiled with Mimic Vat, which is whenever a creature dies, you can exile it with Mimic Vat. It gains haste, exile it at the beginning of the next end step. That's the big thing is the exile clause. Some of my stuff likes the ETB, some of my stuff likes to die. But if you need it to die, you need the sack outlet, and that might depend on what's going on. Um, Phyrexian Reclamation gets things back into my hand. Mimic Vat. Am I keeping that? For now. Dread to return, 4 mana sorcery. Return a creature from the graveyard to the battlefield. From your graveyard to the battlefield. Flashback, sacrifice 3 creatures. Not a bad deal either way. Um, Plenty there though, right? I think Mimic Vat can go. I don't love the idea. Phyrexian Reclamation. Necromancer, Animate Dead, Vat of Rebirth, Malakir. I like Ruthless Technomancer. I think we can cut Undying Evil and Supernatural Stamina for now. Just like that. Like the reanimation part is just kind of better. Maybe not Vat of Rebirth in a thing that's going, but whenever another artifact or creature you control is put on the graveyard, kind of the nice thing thinking about it is that your creature's dying that you're going to be bringing back feed into putting oil counters on it. That's kind of nice. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. We got a bit of a problem here. This is like the boost package or just something that's helping out the Balrog, but Swashbuckler Extraordinaire Dragon Rogue Warrior. Should have just been a Dragon Pirate, probably. But 3 mana, 2/2. When it ETBs, you get a treasure, and then whenever you attack, you may sacrifice one or more treasures. And when you do, up to that many target creatures gain double strike until end of turn. Basically, whenever you attack, so this comes into play, you get a treasure, attack with the Balrog, sacrifice that treasure. Balrog has double strike. That's pretty sweet. Beamtown Beamstick. 1 red for an equipment, 2 to equip. Creature gets +1/+0 and menace, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player or battle, create a treasure token. Not terrible. Kalen, Reclusive Painter, red and a black, legend 1/2. When it ETBs, get a treasure. And then other creatures you control enter the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on them for each mana from a treasure spent to cast them. So I don't hate that. The Reaver Cleaver, 3 mana, equipment, 3 to equip, +1/+1, and trample, and then create a treasure token for each damage dealt to an opponent. Sticky Fingers, 1 red aura. Creature gets menace, and whenever it deals damage, get a treasure token, and whenever it dies, draw a card. This card's crazy, by the way. It's so good. So good. Seize the day. Untap target creature, the Balrog. It gets an additional attack, and it has flashback for 3. Power Matrix, 4 mana artifact, tap, target creature gets +1/+1, flying for a strike trample until end of turn. Blood Mist, 4 mana enchantment. At the beginning of combat, target creature. Uh, okay, at the beginning of combat on your turn. So this one's on your turn. Target creature you control gains double strike until end of turn. Chaos Terminator Lord, 4 mana, 3/3. Warrior. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gains double strike until end of turn. I think they're just sitting at maybe too much. I don't hate them. All right, Jessica, Thrice Reborn. It's here just for that 0 to have the Balrog deal triple damage, which would be 21, which is killer. Um, let's go with that. Teamer Battle Rage will give the Balrog double strike and trample. Not a bad deal. Psychotic Fury is 2 mana instant. Balrog will get double strike, and then you get to draw a card. Dragon Shadow is something that I can discard, and when I cast the Balrog, it comes from the graveyard into play for free, attached to it, and it gets +1/+0 and fear. And then Renegade Tactics, 1 red, target creature can't block this turn, you get to draw a card. Basically, you're saying that legend can't block the Balrog, and hopefully it's unblockable. Bada bing, draw a card. Let's I like the double strike idea. I like Jessica. I just think Blood Mist and Chaos Terminator Lord probably got to go away. Just I think I'd rather have the Balrog trample. Is that what I'm saying here? Sticky Fingers is definitely in. Reaver Cleaver. Kalen is early. Beamtown. Swashbuckler. I probably don't like that either. Do I have some big beaters? I do have some stuff that, but I don't have much for. How much do I care about double strike? Because basically it turns the Balrog in from 3 hits to 2 hits, but plenty more damage. I don't know how much I care about that. Are there other creatures that the double striking can even affect or help out with? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Forge? Neverwinter? Questionable if he's going to get through. Same thing with that already has haste, so the double strike is nice there for sure. One other card. Womp. Kind of nice for Horde Hauler too. Stormkill Artist. Balrog, Trample Haste. Is there Might with all these sacrifice things, I might need more creature creators. Yeah, oh, and the double striking is nice with Rapacious one. All right, so how many double strikes do I have? We got that one. Is there another one in here? These two hits. That draws me a card. Jessica. So I guess the question ends up being like between these two and those two enchantments. I'll stick with the instance for now. Is there anything else I want to cut? Beamtown. All right. Kalane, Reaver Cleaver. The extra attack. Do I care about that? I like it. Power Matrix is nice. Flying, First Strike, and Trample. That works with just anything. It's all right. All right. So this one, which one is this one? Kind of half-ass both ways. All right. So we got some type of treasure, damage, artifact stuff package right here. Real quick. All right. So, Pain Distributor, 3 mana, Devil Citizen, 2/3 Menace. Whenever a player casts their first spell each turn, create a treasure. They create a treasure token. And then whenever an artifact an opponent controls is put in the graveyard, this deals 1 damage to that player. Not a bad deal. Adds a little bit of damage going on. But this is the part that I'm kind of questionable on. Like, what am I doing with this? But Sardian Avenger, First Strike Trample gets +X/+0 whenever it attacks an opponent, and that X is the amount of artifacts they control. And whenever an artifact an opponent controls goes in the graveyard, Sardian Avenger also deals 1 damage to it. So I like that. Oni Cult Anvil. Whenever one or more artifacts you control leave the battlefield during your turn, create a 1/1 colorless once per turn. Sacrifice an artifact. 1 damage to each opponent. You gain a life. Not a bad, like, just creature creator. Underhanded Designs. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield, pay 1. Each opponent loses a life. You gain a life, and then you can sack it to destroy target creature. I like that one too, but it might not be this deck. Nadir's Nightblade. Whenever a token you control leaves the battlefield, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Mayhem Devil. Whenever a player sacrifices permanent, Mayhem Devil deals 1 damage to any target. Mirkwood Bats. Whenever you create or sacrifice a token, each opponent loses 1 life. Ingenious Artillerist. 3 mana, 3/1. Whenever one or more artifacts enter the battlefield under your control, it deals that much damage to each opponent. So, 3 treasures coming into play. This deals 3 damage to all your opponents. Hedron Detonator. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, it deals 1 damage to target opponent. You can tap it, sack 2 artifacts, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. Reckless Fireweaver. When an artifact ETBs, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. So for each, that's still 3 damage, but separate triggers versus the other one. So, Disciple of the Vault. Whenever an artifact is put in the graveyard, target opponent loses 1 life. Marionette Master, Fabricate 3. So essentially it comes in as a 3/4 in this deck, but 6 mana. Whenever an artifact you control is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, target opponent loses life equal to its power. And then Torgar, Famine Incarnate. We have, as an additional cost, you can sacrifice a creature, and then it costs 2 less to cast. When Torgar ETBs, somebody's life total becomes half of the starting life total. So if you're at 2, you can go up to 20, or if somebody's at 100, they go down to 20. The other nice thing that I was thinking math wise, if I sacrifice 3 creatures, it's black, black. And then the Balrog is down to 4 mana. So if you have 6 mana, you can and 3 creatures, you can sacrifice 3 to Torgar, back black, black. Somebody goes to 20, and then the Balrog is red, black, 2 colorless for 7/5 hasty. That's kind of a big turn too, in my mind. But some of the stuff I like Torgar, but I don't know. I think this just it's rough. It's rough. So the stuff I like the Oni Anvil. I like doesn't make them. That's I like Mayhem Devil, I'd say. I like the underhanded designs potentially. And I like the Pain Distributor because it makes treasures at least. I don't think I have that much instant speed stuff, so maybe that doesn't matter. Player casts it in, that helps out other people, but it damages their stuff. Let's cut that. Let's keep those 4 for now. That's just kind of like a little bit. That could be removal. That could be removal. This is just creating tokens. Torgar. All right, so things get a little redistributed the next time. That's a nice little pile to cut. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now there's a deck to be built like this for sure, where you're just pinging away, and I think you can make it pretty artifact hate-ish, and we'll talk about some of the stuff right there. So if you have Mycosynth Lattice, where you can turn everything and anything into artifacts or colorless, and mana doesn't matter, um, you could do that. You can do that. I have a deck that does that. I still kind of want this in there, but without that package right there where I cut, a bunch of cards, I don't know if I want it now because we can if we want to talk about it, just whenever you have Cavern Horde Dragon, every permanent they have is an artifact. You get that many treasures. Or same thing with like Horde Hauler. Same different there. Stormkiln Artist gets huge. It's +1/+0 for each artifact you control. So it's going good there. Um, there are cards that can be helpful. I believe it also all cards that aren't on the battlefield, spells and permanents are colorless. So they're not artifacts, but they're colorless. So there is some benefit to having it in here, but I don't know how much. Um, that's the problem. So let's cut the lattice. Let's see here. So, all right, bio transference. 2 and 2 black enchantment. Creatures you control are artifacts in addition to the other types. The same is true for creature spells you control and creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, lose a life, create a 2/2 artifact creature token. Does this just open you up to a Vandal Blast? Just to wipe out all your creatures? And this is my last little package here to talk about, but we've done some good work on this first round of cuts. Um, so I cast a creature, make a creature, um, boost doesn't change anything from anybody else. It doesn't it helps the Stormkiln Artist, and that's about it. So that part I like being able to make more tokens, but there is a token aspect of this, I think. But biotransference can get cut. Strionic Resonator is here for when the Balrog dies, destroy target artifact or creature an opponent controls. Strionic Resonator can copy that trigger. Um, Drivnod, Carnage, Dominus, 5 mana, Phyrexian Horror, a 3. You can pay 2 black or 4 life or any combination. Exile 3 creature cards from your graveyard, put an indestructible counter on Drivnod, and then if a creature dying causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. And so the Balrog dying would be able to destroy 2 artifacts and or creatures when it dies, with Drivnod out. That's something that entices me. And there's a couple of other things in here that cares about dying, but I might have cut them all. And so I don't necessarily want it to only be for the Balrog. Blade of Selves, and also I should point out that Strionic Resonator is gonna work on ETB triggers, um, damage triggers, like this works in this deck. It's not just a Panharmonicon deck. It's not just a Drivnod deck. Okay, so I'm talking myself out of Drivnod. I think Drivnod probably isn't doing enough in this deck, and that can go. But Strionic Resonator will do a lot of work. Blade of Selves is basically for the Balrog, but basically what it's doing, you attack somebody, myriad, so it creates 2 more, which those automatically they die right away, and then you can destroy an artifact or 2 artifacts and or creatures. That's the hope at least. Fable of the Mirror Breaker, makes a treasure, draws discards, and makes copy tokens. It kind of is kind of a do all, but also just nice that it's I have a little bit of that discard going on. I have a little bit of that. I have a lot of bit of that treasure thing going on, and then making copies of other things are dope. Copy of another target non-legendary creature. Yeah, man, that's the bummer because I wish I could make a copy of the Balrog to just have it die. And I thought about that with Kiki Jiki as well, but obviously not going to happen. All right, Sedgemoor Witch. Basically there to make little tokens whenever it casts instants and sorceries. Magecraft is dope. Maybe that works. Maybe it doesn't. Nesting Dragon Landfall to make tokens. If those tokens die, they make other tokens. So it kind of sticks around and is sacrifice fodder, blocking fodder, whatever it needs to be. Ophiomancer. At the beginning of each upkeep, if you control no snakes, put a 1/1 black snake creature token with death touched onto the battlefield. You can only ever really have one, but you can always have one. So not a bad deal. Another token bit. Um, let's look at that last spot. I like the tokens. It doesn't have to be a ton, but there has to be probably enough to just have a little bit of an army to sacrifice to. Strionic Resonator, and that's it. It's not. That was aggressive. Good job. 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, 3, 4. 41. 41. So we're roughly around 120 cards left in this pile. Um, let's see here. Oh, the water, where am I at? Hour 13, hour 15. All right, that's most of the cards we're going to be working with at this point. Might have to pull a couple as ideas come, but we'll forget about it for now. All right, let's go CMC wise. Actually, let's go with like card type wise. I don't even know what's that. What is that looking like? So card type. So creatures, enchantments. Make sure that we're around enough. Sorcery, instant, walker. I don't normally get a walker in the deck, so that'd be sweet if I could get that there. Instant. Sorcery. I normally am pretty creature heavy. I will admit that. Maybe not in here though. I got plenty. I'm sure I have plenty. Stands. What do I normally count? I don't normally play vehicles either, so I don't know how much I'm gonna like that. All right, let's go Reckner as a non-creature. Let's get out all the creatures first. Be an artifact. That'll be an aggressive creature. What will it be? Let's see here. Yeah. Plenty of creatures at this point. Boop, boop, boop. Sorcery instant. Artifacts. All right. Let's see here. Plenty of cards still at 120. Oh, remember to give it a like and a share, and if you like what's going on here, maybe you're sitting down building some decks along with me. Throw some ideas out there. Maybe I can help kind of focused, but let's see what we can do. All right. I don't dislike any of the instants. Let's go here. Not a ton though. Tibalt's Trickery is just, do I care about that? Like, as a protection piece, I want my stuff to die, and so I'm trying to protect something else. And so I think Tibalt's Trickery can be cut. I hope Wrench is around to just be super disappointed at this point. So let's hope for that. Culling the Weak is a nice little deal. But at the same time, it's not treasures. Okay with that. Malika Rebirth, Tamir Battle Rage. Psychotic Fury. Doesn't really have trample. I think I'm willing to cut both of these. It's painful. Painful. But I think that's all right. Plumb the Forbidden. Lots of instant speed draw here. Okay. I'm down. Down with that. I like both of these, because if I can get Balrog through 3 damage, deals X damage to up to 3 targets. To each of up to 3 targets. So battlefield with a loyalty counter on it for each time you've cast this game. Yeah, I could dig it. Yeah. I'm almost certain Liliana Dreadhorde General is going to end up in that final product. It's quite good in here, I believe. All right, sorceries. Knight's Whisper, Monumental, Faithless Looting. It's a crazy good card. There ain't no doubt about that. I think I have enough draw discard from these types of things where I want them. We can cut Faithless Looting. That feels weird. That feels really weird. Let's use the spotlight. I like innocent blood. Smallpox is dope. Killing wave. Blood money. Torment. Vision. Too greedy, too deep. Oh, that's another wrath type card. Hmm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with that enchantment. Is it even worth Dread Return? Maybe. Maybe. Renegade Tactics, not a bad deal. Seize the Day. If I got rid of the double strike, is Seize the Day really going to do something for me? Maybe kill somebody. Maybe go after Ryan W. for doing the same thing to me. Jerk. Um, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Maybe Smallpox goes. Maybe it's just too mean too early type thing. Discarding. Yeah, we can get rid of Smallpox. That might just be too mean. Just do the big boys mid to late game instead of like fully mid game or full late game as a game winner. Just use it as a ramp spell. Seems weird to say, but I kind of like the idea of Renegade Tactics. Target creature can't block this turn. Basically, trying to make Balrog unblockable. Draw a card. Nothing against you. It's just that waiting for consulate clearance was never really my thing. Okay. Seize the Day. I don't have much else out there. Let's cut Seize the Day. I don't love it, but we can cut it. I think. Ooh, are we hoping to get to that or the 3 and 4 spot for draws? I think Night's Whisper has to stay in. You got to get there somehow. Keep that there for now. All right, enchantments. There and back again. Yeah. Curse of Opulence. Yeah. Guild. Because I could be super aggressive with the Balrog. Descent. Black Market. Reign of Riches. Smoke. Do I want smoke? Do I want that smoke? Goblin Bombardment. Spiteful Banditry. Phyrexian Reclamation. Necromancer. Animate Dead. Sticky Fingers. Dragon Shadow. Dragon Shadow's always going to come back. That's the nice thing. Making Balrog only blockable by black or artifact legends. So essentially making him 8, 16, 24. Yeah. Underhanded Designs is maybe a little bit of life gain. Do I care about that bit? I it's tough. It's tough to know. All right. There and back again. Curse. Gilded. 2, 3. Got a little bit of Cascade going on there. Does smoke get me anywhere? Are people going to People are gonna hate me. They're gonna hate me either way, aren't they? Stopping people from untapping is just kind of mean. So Renshai, I'm sorry, no stacks here. Gonna get rid of each player can untap all of their creatures. Let's make sure that we can do that. Make sure that people can have fun. Shadow, underhanded design. Seems sketch. Do I even care about that? Whenever this creature attacks, 2/2, create a token that's a copy. Kiki Jiki might still be in play, but yeah, one enchantment getting cut. Ugh. Not my best outing. Altars seem solid. Same thing, Golden Throne, Mox Opal, Soul Ring, Lotus Petal, Jeweled Lotus. Jeweled Lotus doesn't go in a lot of my decks either. This will be my third deck it's in. Oh, only a second. I got rid of Muldrotha. So Muldrotha had it. I have it in Oscar. And then here. So I could be all right with that. Signet, Talisman. I think I can cut Inspiring Statuary. It's really nice because it's going to be able to cast, like, use my treasures as mana without having to sacrifice them. Commander Sphere. Crucible, I think, is still going to be worth it. I like it because it allows me to, when it's in play, allow me to discard lands more. I think Network Terminal can go, though. Currency Converter is in. Transmogrant's Crown. Normally, if this is in, Skull Clamp should be in. Not saying that either of them should or should not be in. But let's cut that. Ugh. All right. I still like the idea of that. Sensei's top. Aetherworks Marvel still seems decent here. Weatherlight completed. Am I having enough like creature tokens? A creature you control dies. So it doesn't have to be non-token. I'm okay with it. Reckoner. Treasure map makes sense. Bolus Citadel. Crowl Space, like I said, with smoke. Those are basically the same idea. We can cut that. Vat of Rebirth is okay, I guess. The Reaver Cleaver. Beamtown. Power Matrix, I'm okay with that. Making tokens, I'm cool with that. Strionic. Blade of Selves seems solid. 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm gonna have to cut into this though a little bit more. I don't know where. Because this is draw and treasure. Whenever a creature you control dies, put a viruses counter on it, then draw a card if there's 7 or more, if it doesn't scry one. So you got to scry 7 times, and then you get to start drawing cards. Question is that going to get me there? Maybe. I don't know. 2 mana is nice. Turning into 5/5. Maybe I should read what this does. Choose a card at random from target player's hand. Look at it. Ignore this ability. Okay, and then draw. So I was looking at a card, looking at the top card, and then drawing cards. I'm good with either of them. They're just nice little cantrips. Figure that out later. Currency converter. Yep. Crucible. Maybe that doesn't matter. Maybe I'm overthinking that. Ooh. Let's do that. We'll cut it. Just like the idea. I'll bring it back. Bringing it back. Talisman of Indulgence and Rakdos Signet. Keep those. Yeah. Maybe we cut Mox Opal. I think we can cut Mox Opal. I think that's okay to get rid of. Just we got enough treasures. We just need something else. We got plenty there. And then a little bit of sack outlets, a little bit of ramp. Might not need all of them. Sorry, I'm half listening. Something's going on upstairs. Wife is walking around, and that's not good. She is awake. Oh. All right. So 1, 2, 3. Those probably make it at some point. Could just cut them too. That's something I'm disappointed in. We'll do CMC and then we'll put them back into order of what they are. All right. On to creatures. Solemn These are non-token creatures. Rapacious one. Reckless Barbarian. Ornithopter. Gadrak? Gadrak's still around? Do I care about that one? I think we cut it. I think we just cut it. That make a whole ton of sense? Because that has to be non-token, right? Non-token creature. Yeah, that's potentially struggling. All right, Pawn of Ulamog, Stormkiln. Whenever another legendary creature enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on it. Whenever it deals damage to a player, create a treasure token. I got a little bit of bumps that can go into that as well. It's already double striking. Undercity Scrounger. I want to try it out. That's my big thing. Balrog, yeah. Professional, yep. Magda, I like Magda. Ragavan, Horde Hauler. Pitiless Plungers, bonkers, especially with those Eldrazi spawn and Scions. Is that infinite actually? Is that the problem? No. Create the because it so non-token creature dies, which creates the Scion and a treasure. Then I can sacrifice the Scion to create another treasure to sacrifice the treasures. Okay. As long as it's not infinite. I don't need that shit. Goldspan, Cavern Horde, Impulse, Goldhound, Volt Robber, yeah, Zorn, Patron of the Arts, Dockside, Forge. So whenever one or more players sacrifice one or more creatures. If it was just based off of sacrificing a creature to get the one, I would not play this. But the +2/+0 for each treasure is enticing. That's enticing. It has menace. So you need 2 creatures to block it. That's enticing. Big beater there. We can cut full Droth or Cold Drotha Forge Master. Some of the artifacts I was hoping to go get the Lattice. Lattice was the big one. But I got Bullis' Citadel and I got the Forge or whatever. But we can cut that. Morbid Opportunist should draw me enough cards. Discard draw, make a creature. Discard draw with every artifact, which is gonna fly through cards. Half want to play the Sphinx's library, whatever it's called. Draw more cards. Baloth, Baratol. Whenever you cast a spell. So basically, this is just going to get me 1 treasure potentially per round. Oh, maybe I don't like either of these. Those are both iffy. Yawgmoth makes a ton of sense to me. Rose Room, yeah, 2 treasures. Grim Hireling, Urabrask Priest. Two that draws me a card. Da, 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 da. Five mana just seems like a lot for that. We'll cut the 2 Goaters, Baloth and Glowing. I like the Ruthless Technomancer, other than it's just kind of slow. I gotta give up something. But getting 7 treasures is not a bad deal if I sacrifice the Balrog. So attack with the Balrog. Next, a second main phase, pay 4, sacrifice it to get 7 treasures, and then I can pay 5 of those to bring it back with 1 floating, I guess. Ugh. X artifacts. Another creature you control. Um, yeah, Ruthless Technomancer can go away. I think that's okay to go away. Kelaine, Swashbuckler, Torgar, Mayhem Devil, dealing a little bit of damage around the board. Sedgewood, more, a little bit of life gain. Nesting Dragon and Ophiomancer are just some tokens there to be created. I guess the other question that I could potentially do is, yeah, that's probably fine for now. All right, where are we at? Hour and a half. I kind of want to be done in a half hour. We'll see about that. All right. CMC order. Let's get that organized a little bit. Oh, threes. These plenty there. 2, 5, 4s. 2s. Gonna be fat on that. 3s and 4s, I think. We'll see where everything is. That's just 4. All right, here's the deal. We're gonna cut Pawn of Ulamog and then the other one. I like that better with like Bloodghast and reassembling skeleton and stuff like that. Here, I don't think I want to be sacrificing tokens, I believe, and treasures instead of non-artifact creatures. So not a lot of reckless barbarians out there, if that makes sense. So Sifter of Skulls can get cut. Solemn is still there for some reason. It's just such a solid card. I don't know why I like it so much. 4s. Bop, bop. I put that in the 6er spot. 2. Rearrange just a little. All right, 4. That's that 3 spot. 6 spot again. 2, 4. 3, 2. That's never cast it. X dot dot. 7er. All right, this should relatively help me cut back on what we got going on. 1-1. All right. So this high spot. All right, let's take a look. That's a real 7. That's wherever. That's a real 7. X spell, reduced, reduced. All right, so we have 2 real big spells, and then everything else is kind of reducing. I like that as a wrath. I like that as a wrath. Each non-token creature, but that's dealing with everything. Torment of Hailfire. Killing Wave. Okay, what do I number wise? I like Spiteful Banditry. I just pay that as 3 because it's not a sacrifice. It's just pay 3, kill a bunch of 1/1s, and then get a treasure token, whatever, and then just continue to create treasure tokens. It seems bonkers. All right, Torment, a Hailfire, and Killing Wave is kind of like a life drain on my opponents as well. Potentially me with Killing Wave, but maybe that doesn't necessarily matter so much. Spiteful Cavern. I don't know if I want to get rid of any of these. That's crazy. I love them. All right. Boom. All right, 6 spot, Liliana, Bolus's Citadel, the Reaver Cleaver. I like, again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I like all of these here. These two are technically earlier, but 6 fully to equip at least once. Liliana, Dreadhorde. Do we care? It's like, this is basically removal when, we equip it and we're able to destroy 2 target artifacts and or creatures. Drawing and removal. Bop, bop, bop. I like Rapacious One just as a way to get more technical treasures into play, just for dealing damage. I don't have many of those double strikers anymore, though. The double strike is nice. I'll worry about that later. Because the dragon, the hoarder, or the horde hauler, whatever, those are all nice. 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't hate it. I don't hate them. I don't like that I have all of that, but that's probably a good point. Like, I have a couple of cards that just fill up my hand there. Um Stinging Study, Monumental Corruption, and this can go to the face too. Goldspan, Voldaren Pariah, Nesting Dragon. I like the Nesting Dragon. I think we can cut Voldaren Pariah. I like the idea of it. It's just it's maybe just too focused on, like, it wipes one player out. Whereas I have enough type of wraths that maybe I don't need to worry about that. Probably not. All right. I like the treasures. Dread Return. My wrath effects kind of kill off my stuff. So how much do I love the sacrificing 3 creatures? Take a look at that. What am I doing here? What am I going to be bringing back? Rapacious One, because that's a good point. That's actually a good point. Like, I can essentially discard Rapacious One or any of the bigger ones, Cavern Horde Dragon, probably not Cavern Horde Dragon, but Torgar, and bring it back with a couple of my reanimation spells. Oh, okay. All right. Vision of Ruin is still good. Pirate Pillage. Either Marvel, is that just doing, am I thinking too far ahead? Do I care enough? Look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may cast a card from among them without paying its mana cost. Good for now. Reckoner Bankbuster, down. Flying, First Strike, Trample. I like all of that. Golden Throne. Solemn is still. Cutting Solemn for now. I don't know about that, but Stormkiln Artist. I like the treasures. I have enough instants and sorceries so far. I like the cycling. I like the recast or the reanimation style of it. There's a lot I like about that aggressive beastie. Horde Hauler, creating more. Ugh. Pitiless Plunderer. That might be something now that I don't have the Scions. I'd have to see how many tokens that I end up having. Forge. I still dig it. Yogs. Rose Room. Grim. And Urbrask. What's that last one? Till end of turn, you may cast instant and sorcery spells from your graveyard. If a spell cast this way would be put into the graveyard, exile it instead. This guy's crazy. God, it's so good. So good. Let's see here. All right. 3 spot. Not doing good. Not doing good. All right. So I want to do it 3 times. One shot somebody with Balrog, Necropotence, Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Now, see, I want to make this work. I don't think I'm going to make that work. I don't know if I like it. I'm going to cut Fable. I just don't like it here. Treasure, maybe I don't know. Not a big fan. Vote for Smugglers. Sure. Beamtown Beat Stick. Yeah, I like that. Yep. Spring Statuary. I have some equipment that's going to go nicely in here. Crucible, Phyrexian, and Ashnod's Altar. Now, do I care about any of these? Okay. We'll set those aside. We're going to want to go through and just look at our sack outlets and see what or if anything we need there. Gimli is also kind of questionable. Is it going to get through? Probs not. So at best, whenever it deals damage. So at best, it's going to be able to do 2. I'd rather have Horde Hauler. I don't know. I don't think I have that many legendary spells. Let's cut Gimli. Gimli's all right. Undercity Scrounger is probably something that I can cut too because it taps. It is an artifact. So, Professional Facebreaker. Yeah. Zorn. 3/2. Yeah. Patron of the Arts. Morbid. Moria Scavenger. Yeah. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Sedgemoor Witch and Ophiumancer just as sack out or as token makers. Just a couple of token makers I think are going to be important to draw or deal damage or make mana. Yeah, I think that's kind of there. All right. Plum the Forbidden. Yeah, I think we want to do that because that can just, if I just go pay 2, sacrifice 6, that just netted me 4 mana for the Balrog and 6 cards. That seems good. Yeah, Deadly Dispute, Night's Whisper, Underhanded Designs. This is a removal spell and a little bit of life gain, life drain. But I gotta pay the 1. I think we'll cut that for now. Goblin Bombardment. Yep. Um yeah. I like that. I like that as well. Strionic Resonator. How much do I care about that? How much? Because there's kind of the same problem. Something happens, I gotta pay the 1 or pay the 2. It's already on top of whatever I was doing. And is that worth it? Probably. There's a couple of big hitters. Couple of big hitters. I like it. Talisman, Reckless, Ornithopter, Magda, Vault Robber, Priest, Kalane. All right, the ones. I'm gonna take a drink after this. And I think then I'm just gonna go in their spots one more time and then call it a night. Let's call it a night from there. We don't have to drag it out until I'm almost there. You're seeing the process. You just kind of keep on boiling it down. So we'll see where try and come up with different ideas. One thing that I almost did today was I cut down. I put every card off to the side that created a treasure to see how much it fills out the deck, and I could have supplemented everything and just got it there. Like I would have been at like 75 cards, and then I cut from there. Um, but there's plenty of treasure cards that have been cut at this point. So, all right, culling the week can get me out there. Malakir Rebirth. Renegade Tactics, Innocent Blood, Strike It Rich, Dragon Shadow, Sticky Fingers, Phyrexian, Sensei's Top, Vata Rebirth, Currency Converter, Blap Blap, Soul Ring, Jewel, Lotus, Ragavan Impulse, Gold Hand. Goldhound. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Ugh, ugh, ugh. Jeweled Lotus. Soul Ring. Bauble, Bauble. Bad Rebirth. Sensei's Top. I care about that Phyrexian wreck. Maybe a little bit. Let's cut Phyrexian Reclamation. I don't think I'm going to want to be... It's either reanimate them or let them stay there. Like, I don't need them back in my hand type thing. Sticky Fingers. Yeah. Dragon. Dragon Rich. Innocent. Blood. So we're saying Renegade Tactics as a... Yeah. Calling the Weak. All right, let's go with... I'm just going to bring out everything that sacrifices something. Like a creature. We're doing creatures. Not a something. I'm not going to count creatures that can sacrifice themselves, though. We don't need that. We need to figure out how many sack outlets do we have? How many do we really need? Yeah, that doesn't... Sacrifice an artifact, not necessarily there. That is a sack outlet. All right, let's see here. That is a sack outlet. Yeah, I'm seeing plenty. I can sacrifice a creature. Let's see here. It's technically a sack outlet. For me. All right, so we have probably plenty. So the question ends up being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We definitely don't need 14. Let's rearrange these into like singular shots type thing. All right, so these are one shots. These are technically a one shot as well. That's a once per turn. Once per turn. Probably a one shot. All at once as well. 2. Okay, so that's a good point. We got the once per turn ain't a bad thing. I like that. I like the infinites. So those two are, as many sacks as I need. I like that a lot. So I think I'm going to have Ashnod's Altar in there and not Phyrexian Altar. We'll cut that. We're not necessarily worried about the color mana. We're down to 2 colors. Like, it should be fine. I like the once per turn things if I so need it. I like these 3, 6. And then we're looking at these ones right here. Deadly Dispute makes sense to me. Plumb the Forgotten or Forbidden. Bop, bop, bop. And so the question ends up being, we probably don't need Culling the Weak. Like, this is almost just as good, but it's removing people. So if we have 5, I mean, this could be turn 3 though too. So turn 1 and 2, get a creature out there. Turn 3, calling the weak into a red black. So if you go black, black, red, 7/5. That's pretty beastly actually. 4. Probably need to get rid of one more card here. I like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I like all of these. So what don't I like? Create a treasure token. Yeah. Plumb the Forbidden. I like that as a copy. Ballista Citadel is going to be crazy. Killing Wave. All right. Is Killing Wave going to be better than Innocent Blood? Is that what we're asking? That's rough. That's I thought Killing Wave was in here for sure. I think we're cutting Killing Wave. Yikes. All right. All right. So those are my sack outlets. We're good there. All right. Drink and then final kind of pairing. We'll go through everything that's going on and then we'll call it a night. All right. Let's see here. Life manipulation. That's some ramp right there. Let's move this a little bit. Removal. Consider that. All right. Draw. Ramp. Draw. Removal. I don't even know. We're going to have another spot here. Let's see if we can fit everything in here. But we're going to have a stack of cards that are, this is draw a card. This is ramp, sack. This is everything. This is probably mostly just ramp. Let's just consider that mostly just ramp. Even though it's removal, even though it's going to be good. This is mostly ramp. That's going to be draw. We'll put that in the draw spot. That's that bump. Removal, ramp, removal. That we consider reanimate. Bump. We draw for a bit. Reanimate. Draw, removal. Draw. It's a token spot. We'll consider that removal. That. We're gonna cut Forge. I don't think there's gonna be a lot. Well, if I go back to like sacrificing a lot of creatures, then that's that, right? But ooh, that's kind of a draw discard, but we'll consider that 2 treasures, I guess. We'll it's very similar. Okay, let's consider this like unexpected windfall. All right, let's go with even big score. Big score might be better example conversation. So 4 mana, exact sync. Cycling is discarding this to draw a card, and then you create 2 treasure tokens. This is 4 mana, discard another card to draw 2 cards, and you get 2 treasures. So it's discarding another card and getting to look at one more card. That's kind of the difference there. Yeah, I guess we'll put that in the draw category. Ugh. Not a very good draw. All right. Damage. This we will consider draw because we have to essentially at this point. This is here. It's removal into it's A little bit of mana, damage to an opponent, some treasures, some removal. So like I can flip this right away. I might be wanting to flip it right away just as a removal bet. That's gonna be manas. That's probably more removal. Protection, blockable, blop, blop, blop. Treasure, reanimate, draw, manas. That's a little bit of both, but we'll consider that probably more mana than anything. It's a bonus. Treasures, Magda, mana, 1, 2. I don't know where to put that. We'll put in the Trogdor spot. Tokens, scrying, animate, draw, tokens. That's damage. Double strike. Draw discard, draw. That's a little bit of both too, but that's more treasure. That's land, statuary, manas, boom. Oh, uh-oh. Took out all my protections, so that is going to sit in that spot. All right, I'll move that over. All right. Let's see here. What am I considering draw at this point? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 24. So if we can cut a handful here, right? Treasure map, I'm okay with. Morbid, Moria, getting that creature is really nice there. Quicksmith Genius. That's the question. Like that's just whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. I mean, I'm gonna be able to see a lot of cards. I mean, that's a lot of cards to see. Not necessarily gain, but Weatherlight completed. Should get there. Free draws, free sacrifices as well. It's just a little cantrip though. Do I like them? All right, so technically I can just leave them around and use them as. Do I like this better than Lotus Petal? Or not? Lotus Petal gets me 2 for the Balrog. Or this gets me 1 and a draw? That's both decent. Come on. These are spoils. That's treasures. That's filling up my hands. These two are filling up my hands. I like that quite a bit. Unexpected. Aetherworks Marvel. I don't think there's anything huge that I really want to hit. I think we can cut Marvel. That's okay. Reckoner. Am I going to get there? That's a good question. Draws me or makes a token and a treasure. I'm okay with that. Liliana, Yawgmoth, Deadly Dispute. All right. What do we get there? We got 1. We wanted to at least cut 4 there. 1, 2, 9, 10. All right. Whatever. Let's go on to manas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 17, 18, 19, 20, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Yikes. 32. All right. So we need to cut at least 12, huh? All right. Commander Sphere. Inspiring Statuary. Is that what we're doing? Probably not. It's pretty damn good. And here, Crucible makes sense to me. Professional, Zorn, Patron. As I was saying earlier, do we want to get rid of? I think we want to get rid of the rituals, and I think that's what we're going to consider these. Man, Culling the Weak though. That's a turn 3 Balrog. 1, 2, 3, 7, which puts me at 4 mana. I don't hate either of those. God darn it. All right. We're gonna cut Signet and Talisman. I don't like it. I think that's the best bet. All right. Magda, Vault Robber, Dockside, Soul Ring, Jeweled Lotus, Lotus Petal, Ragavan, Impulse, Goldhound, Currency Converter, Strike It Rich, Grim, Stormkill Artist. I don't hate that. Nah, I like that. Horde Hauler, Pitiless Plunderer, Goldspan Cavern, Rapacious One. Oh boy, that's tough. All right, I think we're gonna cut Reckless Barbarian and Culling the Weak. So I cut 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, all right. That was not 12. Cutting cards is hard. It's hard. All right, so we have decided just to buff the Balrog at this point. So the Beamtown, Swashbuckler, Extraordinaire, Kalane, Reclusive Painter, Sticky Fingers is dang good. Dragon Shadow. Yep. Beamtown, Swashbuckler. Am I gonna get rid of that double striking son of a gun? That's one. I think I'd rather have Swashbuckler over Kalane. Is that what I'm saying? Just giving it a 1/1 counter or double strike and potentially something to do. Ugh. All right. Kalane is gone. Sticky Fingers, yes. Dragon Shadow, yeah. Near unblockable. Renegade Tactics. Let's cut that. Let's cut it. Blockable for a turn. Jessica, Reaver Cleaver, Power Matrix. Jessica can be cut. Just trying to make the deck more fair, right? Is that what I'm doing? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Creature tokens, Theomancer, Oni Cult. Ability triggers only once each turn. Only once each turn. Don't dislike any of them. Shrinic Resonator, Torgar. Yeah, I like them too. All right, let's go reanimation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's only one repetitive one, one reactive one, and 4 pulling from the yard. 1 is removal. I don't hate any of these. Maybe we get rid of Dread Return. That's probably what we can do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. All right. Mayhem Devil. Whenever you sacrifice, deals 1 damage to any target. I'm okay with what's going on here. I'm sacrificing a lot of stuff, and that's any player. Fetches, treasures, creatures to whatnot. I'm okay with that. Rose Room Treasurer is a little bit of pinging, a little bit of treasures. This one's damage and treasures into recasting stuff, so that's a little bit of extra stuff. Blade of Selves works pretty well on a lot of these creatures. Visions of Ruins makes sense. Blood Money, Spiteful, Torment, Goblin, Innocent Blood. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's get rid of Innocent Blood, I guess. That sucks. I don't like doing that. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. $26. So if I can, my goal right now, I should be done, right? I want to try and get these down in the, I want to go through the draw and discard aspect of this a little bit. The draw card advantage. Okay, that's off the top, which is nice. That is purely draw. We are sacrificing, but still drawing. This is much more like removal. Draw at a sacrifice cost. Actually, that's perfect for these. It's kind of cantrippy. This is a basically same thing there. All right. Okay. Draw discard, draw discard. That's kind of a fill up. Fill up. Draw discard. Draw discard. What do we consider that? Probably something like Reckoner. Draw discard. This is just cantrip, cantrip, cantrip. That's just purely draw discard. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Dropped a card. Cheating. That's a scry. That's a draw discard. I like that this makes a creature. I think we can cut Quick Smith. Genius. It's gonna get me to see a ton of cards. But it doesn't, it's not necessarily advantage or anything. If this didn't make a creature, this wouldn't be there either. But I like all this cantrip piece stuff, so I got to figure out what's staying, what's going. Morbid Opportunist top. Dun, 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 dun. We can cut top. It'll probably get added in later on, but we'll give it a go. We'll give it a go. I like the scrying there. We have a couple of fill-ups. These are sacrificing creatures that you already have. Draw, discard treasures. Draw treasures, creature. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15, 20, 21. 21? All right. 4, 5. I think we can get rid of Reckoner Bankbuster. Ugh. It makes creatures as well and treasures later on. I like both of that. I like both of that. Cut Knight's Whisper. Ugh. I don't think I'd rather have the baubles in there. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. 8, 9. Did I count that right? Two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10, 20. 20. I'm happy stopping at that. All right, let's try and get that ramp down. All right, sacrificing, 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 damage, damage on creatures sacrificing, but that is also a damage. That is a trigger. Oh, that is death. Triggers. Based off damage. I don't know how I'm going to get that magnet to tap, though. You know what I mean? That's based off damage. That is just hard-nosed. I don't know what to do with that. Okay, so we will put just plain old. This might even be considered ramp, but maybe it's just too many basic. All right, those are sacrificing ones. Let's see what else. We need to sacrifice to have that happen. It's technically loose, but boop, boop, boop. All right, because that's making a treasure. Bop, bop. ETP and Zorn. So I guess the question is do I need Storm Kill? We're all over here. Um, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 18, 28. All right. We can move this over so we can. This is probably just the last bit. So let's figure this out, huh? We don't necessarily care about if it's a treasure or not. So like I like Cavern Horde Dragon, Rapacious One as that high spot. And so it doesn't have to be treasures. Stormkill Arnis goes really well with that draw. Plum the Forgiveness and some of the other ones. Strike it rich. Do Crucible. Commander Sphere is doing some work. Yeah, I like it. I think we can cut. One, two, three, four, five. What are we doing here? What are we doing? Doesn't necessarily have to be. I think I might like, well, let's get rid of Patron of the Arts. I think maybe we get rid of Impulse Pilfer, just like the death triggers. They're kind of nice though. They ain't big. 1, 2. Vault Robber's nice. Ragavan, Gold. I like Goldhound quite a lot. We already got rid of the rituals, right? Those two. Move those up to the front. Because they kind of get me, but I like the auto, or like as many as you need. Golden Throne is 4 into the Balrog. First Strike Menace. Doing some work there, Goldhound. I think we can get rid of Ornithopter of Paradise. Getting rid of a lot of little cheap things, though. Like to get things going. I agree with Patron of the Arts. I don't know if I necessarily agree with Impulsive Pilfer. We can leave that there. But Ornithopter of Paradise can go. I like the idea of Crucible of Worlds. Maybe what I need to do is go through and see how many cards I have that discard. That can be kind of the next thing that I'm looking at at this point, because then maybe Crucible and maybe where'd that deal go? There, currency converter. Maybe those two don't matter. Because I got rid of the Badgesaur. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 17, 26. 26 ain't half bad. Goldhound. Yep. Ashnod's Altars. Rapacious One. Cavern Horde. Horde Hauler. Grim. Ragavan. Professional Facebreaker. Vault. Dockside. Soul Ring. So I'm half thinking Commander Sphere and Soul Ring, but I want to use the pre-con art because it's so Lord of the Rings stuff. So that's what's holding me back. It's silly. It's silly. Let's get rid of Crucible of Worlds. I think that can be a good cut, and maybe even 3 read currency converter. Well, that has a draw discard on it as well. So it works. Whenever you discard a card, you may exile. It either makes a creature. If it's a land card, create a treasure. If it's a non-land card, create a 2/2. Yeah, I can fucking take that. That's good. So 25. Vault Robber with Magda out gets me 2 treasure. Goblin Pirate. Need to deal the damage. Ragvan can be sacked whenever I need to, probably. Lotus Petal. All right. Let's go and look for our discard outlets just to see what's going on with currency converter. Is there anything else that allows me to discard cards here? I don't think there is. There's a lot of crossover in this one, like draw and land. There is removal, and so there's a lot of crisscross, and so I might not need to be so high on a bunch of these numbers. All right, just focus. All right, what's discarding? That does not necessarily count. Blop, blop, blop. Hmm. Nice little thing there. Fumancer. I don't have a lot of discard here. Sticky fingers, blah, blah, blah. All right. So basically, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 discards. Not going to happen. Currency converter is cut easy. Good call on worlds as well. It's hoping to be done. Let's count through this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 50. 70. 70. That's there. That's there. That's easy cuts at this point. Hey, all right. That's going to be it for the night. Thanks everybody for coming out, watching, listening, commenting. Appreciate you. Hopefully the deck you found interesting. Maybe you want to check it out later on as well. The Balrog Durin's Bane is going to be the bane. That was annoying. I'm sorry. Of anything, everyone. It should be a fun deck to play. I'm excited to get to it. All right. Thanks for listening. Bye.